Hey there, Vermont. Everybody out there in America. We've got a important town meeting days across the state of Vermont on March 4th and March 5th. And I am wondering how many Vermont voters are willing to bring up small modular reactors during town meetings across the state of Vermont, or do you want to continue on the same path that the 100% renewable energy companies are unwilling to admit in any kind of a public forum right now? I'm going to show you the article. I've posted this on both of my, the Green Mountain Republicans Inc. Facebook pages, the history of Vermont politics. I'm going to show you the article, and I do want to give a shout out to Wendy Wilton. I was looking for this article, and sure enough, she had popped it up. I'm just going to flip the screen real quick. Okay, so why renewables can't save the planet. This is the website, Quillette.com. It's actually a really good article written by a very enthusiastic environmental scientist. And I could go down through, he's basically describing how he became an environmental or an inspired environmental activist. And then he goes to school and actually starts pursuing it. And then he gets an opportunity under Barack Obama's administration to embrace the vision. But this article you really have to read, because it is one of the better written articles where someone who is so passionate about renewable energies of industrial wind turbines and solar, the truths that they started to find after trying to go 100%, the realities, the instability, the overall massive amount of environment that had to be consumed in order to install these industrial wind turbines and these solar farms, and the successful models that are coming forward down the pipe that you have yet to really hear anything about in the state of Vermont, are small modular reactors. And it's becoming a reality that the nuclear power, the latest innovations in nuclear energy have become so much less expensive. This gentleman here, I got to find his name. It's in the article, and then I'm gonna flip over to the small modular reactors as well. You got to read this article. I've put some posts out there with this article on why renewables can't save the planet, or can't save the planet, along with, and I'm just going to flip this again. This is published February 27th, 2019, so you can research the article. And then I want you to pop onto www.energy.gov and the Advanced Small Modular Reactors. These are reactors that are completely a whole new design compared to the old reactor style that, for example, that Vermont Yankee and Entergy recently decommissioned and shut down. Really good article. Plus, there's several other advances as well, depending on and this is the key factor. If Vermont is so solar farms, other renewable energy resources that are coming into the grid, Vermont is presently in a serious negative downturn financially. I mean, Global Foundries, and I know this is, they just recently announced they're making a new move, or not. I don't know if it's necessarily a new move. This has actually been. I got to bring that up here. Hold on. That other article with Global Foundries, they're taking a semiconductor microchip division and moving it to Germany. There's going to be layoffs. I realize everybody feels that a contract with the state can be, but when your state is making business uncompetitive to the point where you are going to make it, you're raising the expenditures across every aspect of any kind of transportation, your employees getting to the Global Foundry site up in Essex. It doesn't take too long before businesses just realize that it is a hostile business environment. Vermont is in a negative, number 50 GDP. The tax code is that's the thing that's really hurting Vermont. This constant tax. And Vermont needs to Vermont voters need to get their voices back. We're just constantly hearing a far left, it's their way or the highway. Many of their so-called solutions are unsustainable. The price is off the roof. It's not applying any real common sense, and it's not going to power Vermont into the next century. As much as, and there's a major misunderstanding between nuclear energy, these small modular nuclear reactors, versus nuclear weapons. And they're two different separate processes, technologies as well. And the 60s style of fearing everything with the word nuclear, that needs to come to an end, because there's some major advances within those technologies, so much more efficient. You get so much more energy off of just a small amount of a resource for 30 years of sustainability. That's what Vermont used to have. And then it decided to shut down. And maybe it's time to keep, you update, go forward with a solid technology that is going to be able to power Vermont into the 21st century. Not destroy the massive amounts of Green Mountain ridgelines, and not clutter open fields with 30,000 acres of solar farms when they already know it will not work. They're completely ignoring knowledge on purpose because it's a political agenda. And I'm just going to flip over, go to that energy, the Department of Energy. And this is another thing. As much as Vermonters feel, or they may have a supermajority, but listen, when you're talking 300 megawatts, okay, and we're talking a stable energy source like we used to have with Vermont Yankee, but it's an updated new design. It can be built so much quicker. It's not this 30-year plan of destroying ridgelines and massive amounts of environment, which basically contradicts the whole climate change agenda. And it does apply common sense. It does apply an energy source that is actually needed. It's been proven in several other states. And Vermont is in a serious pickle because of this never-ending far-left approach, completely ignoring, in many cases, a majority of Vermonters, writing legislation that they feel is fit for them. Well, there is no input. So I'm making this quick video. There's going to be a presentation for the No Carbon Tax Vermont group. You can also join the group on Facebook, March 23rd, 2019, at the State House, 9 a.m. to noon. I am going to present a much different presentation that the far left may be a little bit afraid of, because it completely kind of deflates their climate change apocalypse within 12 years. It saves massive amount of mountain ridges. It does not bring down property values the way each one of those industrial farms. It does not cause the issues between neighbors that all of a sudden buy a home. Their home has lost its value because now it's sitting next to a solar farm that's fenced in. And I think Vermonters should bring it up during this March 4th and 5th town meeting day across all 14 counties. And I realize, I don't have the money to buy WCX time. I realize, many Vermont media sources are completely fixated on other things, but I really think that this is a critical energy source that's being purposely ignored just because of an outdated, out-of-touch stereotype. And we have a lot of that here in the state of Vermont. They're stuck in certain mindsets, and they're unwilling to listen to a good common sense approach on moving Vermont forward into the 21st century. So bring this up across town meetings if you get to see this video. Please share this. I've put the links on both Facebook sites. This will be something that I hope to move forward onto the websites. And we're actually considering piecing together a group to basically air our own show on Orca Media. I know I don't know. Like I said, I would like to see Vermont actually get out of the nasty debt, the downscaling that needs to happen due to some seriously bad decisions that were railroaded through a legislative body that is completely ignoring many Vermonters. The tax code is rigged for failure. It is pushing businesses out of the state of Vermont. It's pushing pretty much anybody with common sense that wants to be successful, that wants to actually raise a family, out of the state of Vermont. You're number 50 GDP. You're in the top tier of most tax states, and we have Grand Canyon potholes running all over the state. We already know that mud season's coming up pretty soon. As beautiful as our environment is here in Vermont, this would also save that environment. It's a redesigned nuclear energy resource that is set up exactly for the 21st century. It can plug into several aspects of hydro, industrial, turbines, solar farms, and able to utilize the energy on the grid. And Vermont could actually get back to making money again, rather than consistently in crisis mode. And I just think that there should be some Vermonters out there at town meeting day that should bring up the small modular reactors, how that could impact Vermont's future in the 21st century. We avoid this fossil fuel taxpayer-funded scheme that is going to make an affordability crisis across so many spectrums, economic, demographics. The poor are just going to stay pooled in the poor unless they just decide to move out and finally become successful somewhere else. The middle class is pretty much decimated from this never-ending inability to make solid common sense decisions that can be productive and profitable in the future, because we've had some representatives that need to retire, in my view, on the federal side between Leahy, Sanders, and Welch. We need new blood that are actually willing to discuss these options and not just following because no one wants to think for themselves. Or I know Vermont has a lot of talent, and I know Vermont has a lot of individuals that are successful in several different fields, but yet once you reach a certain whatever, you're either out of the loop, you're out of the pay scale. No one, rewarding intelligent, talented people is not something Vermont is very good at. They like to claim they are. It's another, smoke and mirror show. And yet, why are we seeing some of the things happen that we're seeing? And, global foundries, for the folks that are working up there, I'd like to know just how many Vermonters are actually employed there, or how much of that workforce has been imported from somewhere else. Global Foundries is not doing anything spectacular that cannot be designed. And actually, I would have changed some of its processes a while ago, especially with the privacy issues and some of the encryption that needs to be applied in these microchips in order to secure privacy. Also, but that's my personal opinion, as a successful software network engineer and someone who's also worked in manufacturing engineering companies in the past. But again, take a look at this article, get out there to your town hall meetings. You should probably read both of these. It'll get you up to speed pretty quick on the failures of why renewable energy cannot save the planet, by Michael Schellenberger, published February 27, 2019. That website. Then go over to the www.energy.gov. There's several new leading edge reactor platforms. I'm in depth right now because I want to, like I said, during the No Carbon Tax Vermont group, I want to put together a really well thought out presentation that is going to actually probably change a few mindsets, make it a lot more cost effective. It's definitely not going to require the kind of taxpayer funded schemes that the 7 CEOs, that other group that's just pushing the global climate change apocalypse. So get out there to your town meeting March 4th and March 5th. Ask, with all of the renewable, the climate change initiatives that they want brought up on the town meeting agenda, ask them why at least small modular reactors are not being considered within Vermont's energy portfolio to bring the state of Vermont back to profitability. So get out there. I'm going to post this video. I'll have the links along with this video so you can read these 2 articles. You can really dive in. There's so many different options now on the Department of Energy website. You're going to get a whole new, you're going to get updated, basically. There's some great advances in those energy sources, and many states are realizing that they cannot do, or the 100% renewable is unsustainable, it's unstable, and they need these reactors in order to stabilize the electric grid as well as provide the power going forward into the 21st century while reducing carbon emissions. Because that's the other thing that's going to shock a lot of the climate change apocalypse or climate change 12-year plan. The 100% renewable energy team is completely ignoring what I just showed you in that article. There's known facts that have been discovered in other states with several other, industrial wind, big solar farms, and they're realizing that they've got to plug this into a small modular reactor to stabilize the grid, make it a profitable, model, sustainable to go forward with like a Coke can of resource. You get that much power for 30 years. You're not destroying massive amounts of land, and it's really something that a lot of, I guess they just don't want you to hear it, but I really think Vermonters should have several options to look at and make a solid common sense approach that makes Vermont affordable, can bring it back into the 21st century, and actually create some really good jobs, because that's another reason why talented people leave Vermont. They don't offer talented people with with successful careers. They like to get, and it's great. I do want to see college kids hired right out of college, but it's one of the main reasons why a lot of kids do not even come close to staying in the state of Vermont, because the offers are much, 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 much better outside of the state of Vermont. And when you have family here and you want to see your son graduate, it makes it very difficult when you've got to, you really want to stay here, but there's so many individuals that just will not listen. It's their way or the highway, and a lot of folks are definitely taking the highway these days. But this is an option that you should bring up at town meetings March 4th, March 5th, 2019, and ask them, why are small modular reactors not on the energy resource or portfolio in Vermont's future? All right, have a great day, and get out there and vote, or at least participate in your town meeting day. Have a great day.